This is something I didn't really look into enough until after I made my last video. I guess I didn't have any expectations for it, so I didn't bother. But eventually I bothered. This is from Ralph Yates' January 9th interview with the FBI. Yates stated, however, that he is sure he's all right, blah, blah, blah. Barney T. Wyatt, who is a great uncle or some kind of distant relative of Yates, is a printer, and Wyatt had done some printing work for Jack Ruby. So I found this significant upon further reflection, and that if Yates gave Oswald a ride, and he happens to be related to somebody who does work for Jack Ruby, then that's interesting and it should be checked out. So I attempted to check it out after I made my video. And while Wyatt is a fairly common name, Barney T. Wyatt doesn't sound very common, and I thought it would be easy to find this person in the 1961 Dallas directory that I've been using, because that's the one that's available online. But there's no Barney T. Wyatt in there. And so this got me wondering, why can't I find Barney T. Wyatt? I do a search for Barney T. Wyatt, in relation to Yates and JFK assassination, and there's nothing but this one reference from the FBI interview itself. It's as if Barney T. Wyatt doesn't exist. Well, after screwing around for a while, I started wondering if maybe the FBI didn't spell it right, and what would be an alternate spelling. There isn't one for Wyatt, I don't think, but whatever sounds like Wyatt. And White sounds like Wyatt. And you can even imagine a Southerner saying Wyatt, and maybe a Northerner not knowing. A Southerner should understand. But so I went to look for White, and there is a Barney T. White. And in 1961, Barney T. White in this directory is said, back then they used to give occupations in the directories, which is interesting. Back then it says he was a composition man at Burroughs Corporation. Burroughs Corporation at the time was an IBM competitor. They made business machines, and composition probably has something to do with printing. Business machines do printing, so that kind of makes sense, even though apparently he's an employee of Burroughs and not a self-employed printer, according to this. And Burroughs didn't just make adding machines, they also made military computers. So Burroughs is a defense contractor. So this relative of Yates, who did printing work for Jack Ruby, worked for a defense contractor. And searching with the new name, Barney T. White, I was able to find another FBI document that refers to Barney T. White. This one, somebody overheard Barney T. White saying that Ruby and Oswald had been into his printing shop a week to 10 days prior to the assassination. That's why the FBI was investigating Barney T. White, and they talked to Barney, and they used the directory to find him, just like I did. And on November 28th, this is the day after the FBI had interviewed Ralph Yates, though these aren't the same agents. On November 28th, 1963, Barney T. White, telephone number there, advised Special Agent Robert E. Basham that he has never seen Lee Harvey Oswald before and does not know him. He advised that he has been doing printing work for Jack Ruby for about a year and a half. He has never seen either of the two together and knows of no connection between the two. So, in the Yates document of January 9th, the FBI portrays this as a distant relative who has done printing work for Jack Ruby. Here it's the same person they're talking about with a different spelling of the last name. Here he is said to, it's present tense. He's currently Jack Ruby's printer, apparently, has been so for a year and a half. This makes it seem more up to date that there is a current relationship between Barry T. Wyatt and Jack Ruby, and that's not the impression you get from the Yates interview report. So I get multiple takeaways from this. One is that this Barney, I keep calling him Barry Wyatt. Barney T. Wyatt, either recently at the time of the assassination or currently, it's not clear whether he still works for Burroughs, but works for a company which is a defense contractor. And so this implies to me the possibility that Barney T. Wyatt could be some kind of a conduit to get at Ralph Leon Yates. Though I can't prove that, of course. But it's an interesting relationship. But more interesting, or more relevant perhaps, is that the FBI, which is a professional investigation organization, right? I mean, Federal Bureau of Investigation. Well, they've got these two Barney T. whatevers. Both of them are identified in different documents as printers, even though the last name has different spellings. You would think that they could put two and two together and realize that this is the same person. That is, that Barney T. Wyatt, the printer, is the same person that Ralph Leon Yates is talking about. And that would be something that would be investigated with regards to Yates. That is, you would question Barney T. Wyatt, or White, with regards to your knowledge of Ralph Leon Yates. But apparently this connection was never drawn by the Federal Bureau of Investigation, even though they had these two documents. Presumably there would be people who would see both of these documents. I mean, you have people in the field who collect these documents, create these documents, but then you would have people who would see them all and that they would make the connection. And apparently they didn't. Now I think probably they really did. I think probably Wyatt in the Yates interview was intentionally misspelled just to make it so that nobody would make that connection. Because I think the FBI was covering up in real time here with Ralph Leon Yates. Okay, I wish I had put that in my master video, but if I ever make another one, hopefully I'll remember to do so.